Good morning, everyone. We're having a couple issues with the comments, so bear with me if it comes through and I've got a bunch of stuff that came from me and it's a mess. Don't worry about it. We will get it straightened out in a minute. Good morning. This is Ted Davies Artistry, and this is TED Talks, and I am Ted Davies, and I'm excited because we got Glenn B. Fleming here today. He's going to be talking about his Jack Kirby, uh, opus. This is an amazing package deal that's going to be offered on Indiegogo, and I am looking forward to presenting hopefully a little bit more intrigue and interest in it, because I think it's something that you're definitely going to want to check out if you're a Jack Kirby fan, Jack Kirby collector, or if you have somebody that doesn't know about Jack Kirby that wants to get into comics. And that this is going to be a man behind the myth presentation that Glenn's offering. So, but no further ado, though. What's in the coffee cup, Ted? Well, let me tell you, Indian River Roasting Company put espresso in that coffee cup today. So let's check out a little bit about Indian River Roasting Company. I'll be right back. Here at Ted Davies Artistry, we take coffee seriously. And so does our sponsor, Indian River Roasting Company. It's fair trade, organic, and they're artisans just like me. The only difference is I use watercolor and ink and they use coffee beans. And I enjoy it all through my day. So do yourself a favor, go to the description when you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Find Indian River Roasting Company's website, use the promo code CAFFEINATED2021, and save 10% on your purchase. Yeah, you can find the website in the description, IndianRiverRoastingCompany.com. Use CAFFEINATED2021 for your 10% off on your purchase. Let's also check out our other sponsor, Cashman's Comics in Bay City. Be right back.
Every day I wake up feeling the same way now. Need to find something to believe. Every night the dreams we made, they're haunting my head now.
Yeah, go to Cashman'sComics.com, find out everything that John's doing. If you're in Bay City, stop in at the store, see Petey the dog, best guard dog in the world, and tell them both that TED Talk sent you, and they can help you out, get your collection going, get a pull list going, get some things that you want from John, because he is awesome and he is the staple comic book store in Bay City. Also, check out that he does everything nationwide too, delivery wise. So get on it. Find out what he does and get some product from him, because he is awesome. All right, we are also part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, affiliated proudly. 7 days a week, we are a group of creatives that help creatives build their business, and you can check out everything that we're doing. Today is a pretty special day. Tuesdays are always special because you start out with TED Talks, and then we finish out actually today with the season finale of Nevermind the Furthermore. And is it the never clever title pending? Clever title pending. I don't know. I've only had one cup of espresso. But anyway, Brian's doing his final show tonight of the season, so you want to check it out. It's at 8 o'clock. And I don't know how soon the Dastardly Dingers are taking over that time spot, but it's going to be awesome. But it's kind of sad too, because I know that Brian's put a lot of work into it, and I know that he's going to be back on that train a little bit, and I think it's going to be great, but I think that it's still a little sad. So check out the season finale tonight, because I think it's going to be good to watch. So in any case, Tuesdays are awesome, but all the week is great. So check out everything that we're doing on Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Tomorrow night, the Truth Mongers is doing crop circles. My guest today, Glenn B. Fleming, is also the co-host of the Truth Mongers, and that will be on at 7 p.m. on Wednesday Eastern Standard Time on this channel. So check out everything that we're doing there and find out about crop circles, when they started, what we think they are, and what they could be. So anyway, you guys ready to see Glenn now? And I'm sure you are. So let's bring him on. How's it going, man?
Hi there. Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. Your staple diet here. What can I say? I mean, everybody loves Glenn, man.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Some do, but not a lot don't.
All right. So good morning, everybody. I want to say hi to Paul, Carl, Donna, Brian, Eric. Well, we got Hawkins in here today. Wow. That's impressive, man. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that everybody's here. What we'll talk about today is about your creation. I think that you've got a lot of inside scoop of who Jack was, and I know a lot of people know that about you, but there's some things that I really want to find out the feelings behind, when you sat there at the dining room table and you had Roz there and everything else, trying to just deal with all that the first trip, and then the second trip when you went back and when you really started filming and doing a few things. We can talk about that, but tell everybody who you are first.
Hi, everybody. I'm Glenn Fleming. I'm an English artist, writer, publisher, filmmaker, traveler, whatever you want to call it. I publish lots of books, science fiction books about JFK assassination, children's books, science fiction books, war books, lots and lots of books, and they're all on Amazon. You can get them right now on Amazon. Just put my name in there and you'll find them. I publish Comics Unlimited, which is a bi-monthly magazine about comics, 100 pages. Issue 8 should be out shortly. And I'm working on my cartoon character Hatch, his second book. That's going to be in full color, and that's going to be available probably in the new year now. I would have thought that's going to be in. I'm hoping to do that in hardback. I'm working on that now.
Got it. And then Carl asked, what about Rapa Nui?
And I wrote about Rapa Nui as well, which is Easter Island to people
Right.
who don't know. But I thought I'd cover that in my travels part.
Got it. It's an awesome book. And that is on a side note, you are actually an epic author, because you've got, I don't know how many books out now. How many? 10?
I think it's about 10, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've done it, and they're all different variations.
Well, I'm currently writing 2 more science fiction books, and I'm writing a book called 1977, which is about the worst year of my life. So that's going to be a really grim tale. But and I may not even publish it. That's just to get it out of my head.
I think it's therapeutic.
A lot of bad stuff happened that year for me. So
okay.
And occasionally it sort of comes back, so I think I thought I'd just write it down and try and get rid of it, and I have for the most part. So
might be good. Cathartic. Yeah, that's good, and I think that we all kind of do that. I don't know if
sorry. Let me tell you.
No, you're good.
I've also written what is it now? 70,000 words, which is about an average book.
Yeah.
Of my autobiography, and I'm not yet 25 in it.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, and when I started that while back, the person said to me, "You're not famous. Why are you writing an autobiography?" And I said, the point is that when I am famous,
it's already done.
It's already done. But I can take the check and not do anything for 6 months while I'm writing it. Do you understand what I mean?
Right.
So I might put that out in 4 parts, because I plan to be around until I'm 100.
Sure.
So I need to do that in blocks of 25 years.
Good.
And I can end it with my coming back from my trip to India. And before I got there, I got arrested in Baghdad, Iraq, and I'll cover all that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it. That's a biography I will definitely buy. Ace Bonnie, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. One of the and you guys can go back through TED Talks and find out a couple of things, because I've had Glenn on a few times. But there's some stories in there about Amsterdam that I'm not going to reveal, but they're freaking hilarious. If you haven't watched it, it's hysterical. So don't give it away. It's really good. You got to go back through the editing, through the videos, because it's hysterical. I think it's one of the funniest. It's almost story, comic book, not a comic book, but a skit. It's almost, it should be in a sitcom, because it's funnier than hell. Anyway, yeah, and that's young Glenn, so that's a pretty good one.
Young girl.
let's start on the because we're gonna have just about an hour today. I want to kind of go about 45 minutes to go.
Yep.
I want to make sure that we start out your love for Jack Kirby. So tell them the first book that you got, and then we'll go from that series, how you contacted the powers to be to get over here and all that.
Right. I used to read things like the Beano and the Dandy. I don't know if you've seen those things.
No.
And they're like they're cartoony. They would be like they're probably the equivalent of sort of Archie comics type of thing. That kind simple line, simple drawing, simple stories. And I never really liked the stories of those, but and I didn't particularly like the artwork. Anyway, so in 1965, when I was 10, I used to. There was a comic called TV Century 21, which was published by Jerry Anderson, and it was more or less well, it was 100% a vehicle to talk about his super marination stuff like Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and things like Stingray and all that. So I used to read that, and the artwork in there was by British artists, superb artwork. Frank Bellamy, Mike Noble, superb art. You won't see any better anywhere. Anyway, one day when I was 10, my older brother came home with this book called Strange Tales, and it was Strange Tales 136. Now I opened that, and the artwork on it was Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the artwork on that was by John Severin. But I noticed that at the beginning it said layouts by Jack Kirby. Now my dad was a clever bloke, and I asked him what that meant. What were the layouts? And he explained to me in the way that he could what layouts were. So he told me that this Jack Kirby guy had obviously laid out the book for John Severin to draw. And that was my first exposure to Kirby. On page 4, I think it was, of those early books, there was always an advert for Marvel Comics, and the Thor, collector's item classics, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. So I asked my brother, because I didn't have any money, he had the money, if those books were there. So he said yes. So he went and bought all those books and brought them back, and most of them, of course, X-Men and Avengers, they were all by Kirby. So Kirby to me was immediately the man, not the other guy, Kirby, because he seemed to be drawing all these things.
Yeah, right.
Or he was doing layouts on things, apart from Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, which were both obviously by Ditko. And that's how I got into it. So I started to follow Jack Kirby's work, and I got all the back issues of Thor and the Fantastic Four and all this kind of thing. And just even then, when I was 10, 11, knew how creative this guy was, and how important and influential he was, because he was influenced. There was nobody else doing any layouts. He always did the layouts for the new artists to take up. Like he used to draw the first 10 or 12 issues of a new series, didn't he? X-Men, Avengers, and then hand it over. But even so, when people like Don Heck took over from the Avengers, the first few issues after Kirby left were always laid out by him, because he has that shorthand, that Marvel method, as it's called, which is not really the Marvel method, but that's what they call it. And that would so 1965. Strange Tales layouts was my first exposure to him.
How did you get, because you didn't have the internet, how did you get the information? Was it just at the local comic book store, or did you get like a preview or something in magazines or something, so you knew what was coming out or what was happening? How did that all?
We had a news agent called Pages. It was on in my local town, and they had the spinner racks in, that kind of thing. And when I would go in there, I would always see the Superman comics and Batman, but I wasn't really a fan of those. I didn't think the artwork was very good, apart from Kurt Swan and Murphy Anderson. And I didn't really get into them because I thought they were very childish, and there was no power.
Did you hear that, Brian K. Morris? You want to repeat that one more time? No, go ahead.
Very childish stories, and the artwork wasn't powerful. I love Kurt Swan's artwork. He's a brilliant artist. What's wrong?
Nothing. Brian's probably losing his mind right now. Okay.
Brian lost his mind a while back.
We love you, Brian.
Yeah, we do. But this is just my opinion, and I didn't find them very exciting. That's why I bought TV 21, because there was Stingray was in it and Thunderbirds, and I like those programs. They're exciting, And then so I didn't look at the spinner rack too much, because all I would see would be Green Lantern and Superman and all that sort of stuff, all DC stuff. And then the Marvel thing hit where I live, and that's why my brother brought Strange Tales home, because he didn't like Superman either. But he saw that one and he brought it home, and it just led from there. And like I said, the adverts were in the book, so we bought those books, and it went from there.
Interesting. I know that we had inside the Marvel books, you had the checkoff list of the yellow page, and you had
that's right.
I remember that big time. That was like it. You know, we
Yeah.
had, I mean, we had fandom magazine stuff, but I was little. I mean, at least in the Marvel magazine or the comics, I could check off what I've got
Yeah.
or what I didn't have, and then I could
Daredevil and
go.
all those sort of
Yeah,
things.
right, exactly. And I was more of a Marvel guy too.
Yeah.
There was some things with DC, but I just never really got into Superman,
No,
or Green
I used
Lantern.
to,
I did Green Lantern. I did.
yeah, Gil Kane's Green Lantern
Yeah,
was
I
super,
agree with that. But that was
because he's a great artist.
right. How did so did they have they must have had a printer in Britain, right? So
No,
to make
they,
the Marvel books, or did they ship them
no,
from
they
New
shipped them
York?
over on the ships. They came
Wow,
over on the boats, and they
wow,
were. I think it was World. I think they were called World Distributors.
huh?
Because I used to get Life magazine as well, because the space program, the moon landings were on. So I used to get Life magazine, and
Yep.
it had these fantastic photographs, because I learned later that they had an exclusive with the Apollo astronauts. So there was always good in-depth interviews.
Oh, okay. So you were
What are you
kind of
smiling for?
because it's pick on Brian Day.
Oh, I
Apparently, from what
see.
Eric said, Carl's we're not picking on Brian. We're just, we love him. So, um, okay. So then did you? There weren't any conventions or anything either. They didn't.
No, no.
Jack never went overseas to a convention either. I don't think, did he?
He went to Italy.
He didn't go to the
Luca.
UK, huh?
He was due to go to the UK in 1985 or 6. I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
but he didn't. He didn't go.
Did you correspond with him at all, or how did you build this repertoire
Well,
with
what
or
happened was that,
relation? Excuse me. Yeah.
just to go over it quickly, because I'm sure people have heard it. What happened was that when I was 16, and I had 600 Marvel comics stuck under my bed, my mother made me
That's
get
right.
rid.
Yeah.
She made me get rid of them because they were in the way, but they were under my bed. And I had Spider-Man #1, Fantastic Four #1. I had Kirby's entire run, 102 issues. All the Avengers 1 to 36, X-Men 1 to 49, and all this.
Oh my
I had them
God.
all.
That's
And she's-
retirement money. That's retirement money.
Yeah, it is
Wow.
now. From the prices, I try not to look at, because it makes me, well, it doesn't
Sick.
make me
Makes you
cry, but
sick.
it could make
Yeah.
me sick. Yeah, I had all, and she made me get. She said, "You're grown up now," and all this kind of thing. Because it's great the way parents decide what you are, isn't it? And she made me get rid of them. So and then when I was 17, I went to art college. So I thought I was growing up then. So I stopped reading comics. I know the exact issue. I don't know the number, but the exact issue I stopped reading Spider-Man was when Peter Parker came home and Aunt May was going to marry Dr. Octopus.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought, no,
Yeah.
that is done now. That is done. So I stopped buying comics.
Sure.
10 years later, I went into a comic shop for the first time. Their new comic shop opened. I thought, I'll go and take a look, see what's going on. And there was a Silver Star was there by Kirby, and
Oh, yeah.
Captain Victory.
Yep.
So I thought, well, these aren't as good as the ones I used to buy, but they're pretty good. And I just wondered if Jack Kirby. I'd been wondering whether Jack Kirby was alive, because I know he was in the war, and no reason for him to be dead. But people.
Well,
are.
right. You never know. Right.
And so I found out in these comics were current, and he was alive. And then I remember a couple of years later, he was coming over to England, and he didn't come to that convention, because I was hoping to get down there and at least shake his hand, but he didn't come. And then a couple of years later, I went to Barbados on holiday, and we met these Americans. And Americans are great. They're really friendly. They're really great.
Thanks,
really
man. Appreciate that.
Especially Californians. They're brilliant.
Now they are. They're very.
brilliant.
Some of them are too friendly, if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Yep.
Well, these were very nice, and it ended up that we got friendly with them. We talked with them. We went out with them, and we were having a real good time. And then during the course of the conversation, Bob and Suzanne, they were getting married on Barbados in 2 days' time. And Bob asked me if I'd be his best man.
Wow.
And Suzanne asked the girl I used to be with then to be her matron of honor, and we did.
Wow.
Right, so I was best man in Barbados, not expecting
That's
it.
crazy. All right, cool.
So and also during the conversation, I asked. They told us they came from California, living in Anaheim, and I'd remembered. I just out of the blue, I don't know what was in my head. I just said, "Do you live near a place called Thousand Oaks?" Because in the Eternals comics and the Devil Dinosaur thing, you could write to Jack Kirby via this address, this post office box in Thousand Oaks. So I figured, well, he must live around that place. And so Suzanne said to me, yeah, we live there. It's about an hour away. Now, you being American, everything's an hour away, even if it's 15 hours. It's about an hour.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turns out I think it was 1 hour 20 from their house.
Right.
So what happened was they said, why do you want to know that? And I told them about Jack Kirby, blah, 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 blah. And that was it. That was the end of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They got married and they went home. And it's one of those, you must have done it yourself. You meet people on holiday.
Sure.
You have a good time, you swap addresses, and you never hear from them.
And that's it. Yep.
Yeah. And that's what I figured would happen. Now, we were there a week longer than they went, and we still had a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't forget about them. But they said, oh, you'll have to come up and see us and usual stuff. Now, I'm up for that because, I love America.
Sure.
I'm up for that. So we got back and there's a letter from Suzanne. Blah, blah. I've still got this letter. It goes, blah, 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 blah. And then halfway through the letter, it says, by the way, Jack Kirby says hello. And get this. And I don't think he said, this is Suzanne. She said, Jack Kirby says hello and wishes he could draw as well as Glenn can. Now, that's the joke, right? But she said, here's his phone number. So I've got this phone number. I've said this before. I've got this phone number. And every night after work, I'd come home and read this letter and look at this phone number.
I'm sure you did.
And I thought, see, at that time, it was all landline. There were no mobile phone.
Long distance calls would have been ungodly.
Yeah, and it would have been a lot of money. So I just looked at this thing for about 3 weeks. Every night for 3 weeks, I'd look at this number and think, I wonder if it's Jack Kirby's house. So my former partner said, look, for God's sake, just ring the number and find out. And if it is, talk. And if it's not, put the phone down. Expensive joke. Right. So I rang it and this lady answered the phone. And I told her who I was, told her where I was. And I said, are you the wife of the famous comic creator, Jack Kirby? And she said, yes, I'll put Jack on. So I'm like, oh, fucking hell. Oh, excuse me. I'm like,
right. I'm like, well, it's 18 above from now on. Okay.
So, sorry. So I apologize. I thought, oh, no, Jack came on. So I spoke to him for about an hour.
You must have just been shaking in your boots, man. I didn't have
time. I didn't have time to shake. It just came on. I'll put him on, and there he was. There you go.
Well, the anticipation of it would have been worse, I think, than it just happening, right?
Yeah. So that was about.
That's crazy.
That would be like sort of November 1988. No, sorry, 1987.
Yeah.
Then Jack gave me his address. So I wrote some letters and all that. And one of them's in the book, I think. If it's not, awesome. It's going in. I think it is, and I'm not sure now. And I rang them again, and a few months later, and said, "We're coming over in October. Can we come and see you?" And they said yes. So they gave me. I had their address and all that. So Roz said, ring us when you get here. Here's a phone number again, just in case I'd lost it, which of course I hadn't, because I'm talking to her on the phone. Anyway, so we get there, we get to California, and as soon as we get there, we get to Bob and Suzanne's house. And the
how long was the flight? 12 hours?
Yeah, through O'Hare.
You didn't take the Concorde, huh? You didn't fly over on the Concorde? I figured
the Concorde never flew to California. It only went to New York.
Toronto. I forgot it. No, that's right. It was Toronto. It flew to Detroit. But sorry.
So it's the first thing I did when we got to Bob and Suzanne's was say hello, put our bags down, and I rang Ross Kirby.
You're ready to go. Yeah.
I said, "I'm here. Can I come now?" Sort of thing. And she said this was a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday we got there, and she said, "Oh, come on Friday." And I thought, I can't wait that long,
Yeah,
but anyway,
a week.
We did.
Yeah.
And then I told them that we wanted to go, or I wanted to go up to see Jack Kirby, and Bob took us up. We rented a really nice car, and he took us up there. So, do you want me to carry on?
Well, I mean, I want to say good morning to Pops too, and then also Jody. I know what's going to happen when you get there, because they basically say, hey, okay, we'll pick you up in about an hour. I'm like, really? I mean, this guy's flown halfway around the world. But you go ahead. It's your story. Go ahead and tell him.
Well, we got there, and it was. I don't know whether you went when you're on your trip, but Sapra is like a 45-degree hill.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
Years ago I went there, but yeah,
Right.
not the last time.
Bob said, Bob was he's not with us now, Bob. He was great. But he was the kind of person. He was one of these people who, he seemed to be rushing to the red light. You know, he would never stay anywhere. He was always right. You know, I'm on the moon. Let's go now. Do something else. He's one of the, and I like to sort of look around and see what's around the corner, and stay there for a minute.
Yeah.
And when we got there, he said the Kirbys came out and we met them and all that. And Bob said, right, we'll come back in an hour. And I thought, no way, unless the Kirbys tell me to go. Because I'm staying here I'm staying here all night. I'm staying here for the rest of the holiday if I can. I would just, he can do what he wants. As long as they're happy, I'm staying. Okay. And Ross said, no, you can't. I've made lunch for us all. So we all went in and had lunch, you see. And we ended up staying there about 6 hours, I think.
That's Roz to a T, though. I've watched documentaries and read some articles about her and how that was it. No matter who you were, you always ate when you came to the house.
Yeah, and she made this lovely thing with all these cooked meats and salad, and it was just a lovely lunch and everything. But the funny thing was that I was 33 then, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't say a word. I'm sitting next to Jack Kirby in his house, and he's feeding me, and he's only known me for 10 minutes.
What was the architecture like? What was the room like? Describe the room. The kitchen 70s California, I mean, or what?
Well, I don't know. It was a big house. You see, there's this myth I've said before about Jack Kirby was putting food on the table and working hard. Well, he was working hard and he was putting food, but he wasn't a poor man. He just didn't have as much as he should have got.
Yeah,
but he wasn't poor. That house, I think housing's cheaper in America than it is in England, but that house over here would have been at least.
Not in California, it's not.
Well,
but the property alone. But back in the 70s, it was still expensive. I mean, it was still,
And it was a lovely house. It was a big kitchen with like a kitchen, what I would call a kitchen diner. The dining room was on the other side of the breakfast bar type of thing. You know what I mean? And it was a big house, and I don't know how many bedrooms there were. There must have been at least 3 because they obviously slept somewhere. And there was another room full of artwork.
Yeah, and they've got 2 kids. The studio. So, right.
4 kids at one point.
Okay.
So I don't know whether they all lived there or not, but it was a big house, and a pool, and it overlooked this fantastic valley where Jack told me that there were bikers used to keep everybody awake at night, and that's where he got the biker guy, the bike from the Forever People from.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's where he got the hair.
That's cool.
Those people, yeah. So
that's cool.
It's like us artists always get something out of just about everything that comes by, whether it's good or bad.
Well, you obviously must have, had some words. You correlated some sentences while you were there for 7 hours. What?
I was just during lunch. He kept asking me who I was and why I was there.
Yeah.
What's your name, by the way? Because I hadn't spoken for 15 minutes. I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, and I was just sitting there like a little kid, like I was about 6 and being told to be quiet. I'm just sitting there.
He was pretty good though. He wasn't like he wasn't sick at that time, right?
No. He was all right. He had been ill, but he was okay. Yeah, he was doing okay.
That's cool. So did he take you to the death? What happened?
He said. Ross said, "Right, I've got to clean up now, so get out of my kitchen." So we went down to the studio, and there was a hallway down there, down to the studio, and it had lots of his artwork on the walls.
Yeah,
and it had the cover of Fantastic Four 100. Right, the cover, and somebody had ripped it in half, and you can see it. I posted this online. You can see the join. They had it professionally restored. They got it through the post, and somebody had ripped it in half. Now, things don't get ripped in half.
No, not by
accident.
No,
but anyway, what do you think that would be worth? That cover number, it's tens of thousands, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was on
Oh,
the wall.
easily tens of
Yeah.
thousands. Yeah, easily.
And there was all sorts of work. And I went into the studio, and there was nothing in the studio apart from there was a few bookshelves and things, but it was a very vast open space with this rickety desk in the corner and next to the window,
Desk.
and a mantelpiece. And he had all these awards on this mantelpiece, you know, like the Eisner Award and all that kind of thing. And he had photographs on the wall. And one of the photographs is with James Darren, you know, from the Time Tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Then he's with fans who were dressed as a thing. And I don't know whether these were, I think these were, yeah, they must have been printed covers, but they had some Newsboy Legion covers that he'd covered in plastic. And they were on the walls. And there was a fantastic piece of artwork from, I'm not sure which it was, not the Young Commandos. It was one of those, but it's from the 40s, and he'd painted it. He'd hand-coloured it, this massive artwork on the wall of this bear, this guy going to shoot this bear in sort of wild American times, you know, Wild West times.
Yeah.
Then we were in there for ages, and I took him some of my artwork to look at. I thought, well, you know, if anybody's going to look at it, I'll have to, you know,
But yeah,
pass the test.
Yeah.
And I took him some Hatch artwork, and I also took him a couple of pages from a book that I was working on at the time called The Succession, which I've never finished. These were pencil pages, and I took him those, and he said to me, "You're looking at these things." No, I think he was being sincere here. I really don't think he was just, you know,
blowing smoke.
nice.
Yeah.
He said to me, "You see what I see," and I thought, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And he
what
said,
a great compliment.
Yeah, he said, and he obviously my artwork doesn't look like his figures, but he could see the storytelling. And I said, well, you taught me that, Jack. That's you showed me how to do that. And he said, yeah, but you saw it. And then the big test was Ross came over and she said, I'll have a look at that. And she's that was like, oh, that was the most daunting thing. But
yeah,
she thought it was good. Yeah.
Okay, well, good.
It was good.
That's good. She you mentioned that she was not just the hammer, but she was quite the catalyst of everything.
I think so.
She held everything together.
Yeah, I think she was a great lady. I think she's a very beautiful lady. You know, if only that. But she was you could tell she was strong, and she was really defensive. Not defensive, aggressive, but you knew
your place when you're in the home, right?
Yeah,
you
were everything went through her.
Yeah.
And if you were going to hurt her family, you'd have to go through her.
Yeah.
You know, but she wasn't aggressive or anything like that. But she was a really lovely woman, really warm woman, really beautiful. But you could see that she was a strong person.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other half of the Kirby thing, is that she just let him get on with it. She just let him draw. She took care of everything else.
Well, right, and that was his benefit, to everybody's benefit, really.
Yeah,
the world's benefit.
They
really.
were a great team.
She took that burden, that distraction away from him. It's a huge gift.
Yeah.
You're okay. So after the visit, 3 years.
Yeah.
Before you came back.
Yeah.
Was it economic, if I could ask, or was it just life, or what? You couldn't get back here?
No, it wasn't economic. We could have come over twice a year, but it was just that, you know, you're in a relationship, and they might want to go to Spain or France or something for the holiday.
Is it a visa that you have to have, or just a passport to come over? It was just a passport when I was a kid.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah, just a passport. Yeah, you just fill in the green card. I always fill that in wrong as well. I could tell you a story about that in New York.
I'm sure Roz remembered you when you came back. What was it like coming back? What changed?
Well, in the first visit, I took him. I did a cartoon of him and Ross, and I gave it to them. And the big thrill was that when I went back 3 years later, it was on the mantelpiece in his studio. Now, I don't know whether it had been there for 3 years or whether Ross remembered who I was, but at least it was still there. And it's in the film. You can see it in the film. And in the film, I say to Jack, I drew that. And he said, "Oh, I get these things all the time," and sort of dismisses me, you know, because I'm not sure he realizes that it was.
That's cool.
But it was just the same, except that this time I just went with Bob. my partner didn't want to go. She went shopping with Suzanne, and when I got back, she said she wished she'd come with me because Suzanne drove her crazy with the shopping. But anyway,
Got it.
nothing to do with me. I wasn't there. You had a chance, you didn't do it. But I'm sort of glad she didn't anyway. Well, in a lot of ways, because she'd have been on the film, and I would have had a problem then.
Okay.
But as you see in the film, Bob sort of goes walkabout a couple of. He's filming, and he sort of walks off because he gets bored. You see. But I didn't want to check him because I was too busy talking to Kirby.
Oh, understand. Yeah. But that can be edited out or left in, depending.
No,
Maybe sometimes the walkabout is good because you see more of the space.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I did leave it in.
No mistakes. That's the way I look at it. It was meant to be. You were supposed to be there.
You can still hear us talking in the background.
Yeah.
But Bob's great, but he gets bored.
Well, I mean, he wasn't, I'm sure he wasn't trained as a cinematographer or photographer or anything. So, I mean, you had a fantastic opportunity that they let you come. I mean, not let you come over, but helped you when you were here. I mean, it was a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
What a gift that must have been,
Well, I'd have got there anyway. It was only an hour or so. I'd have driven in and stayed, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I was grateful because it meant that I didn't have to go down the wrong side of the road like you guys do.
Understand. What did you talk about at the second? Again, you had lunch, I'm sure. Again, were you there as long this time, or
no? They were going out, which is a shame. Well, most of that conversation is on the film.
Oh, good.
So you can get all that.
Yep.
We talk about Joe Simon and Joe Sinnott and
awesome,
all that kind of thing.
Awesome.
But there's nothing. I mean, if anybody's watching this, there's nothing. I don't know the word is detrimental to anybody on it.
No,
let's put it that
I
way.
didn't know.
There was none. I didn't go anywhere near that. It wasn't my business, and I wasn't going to intrude.
Sure, this is the life behind the man. Behind the myth. I mean,
all those arguments, and I wasn't really interested because I was only going to get his side of it anyway, and that's not a fair thing, really. So I went with that's the only intention I had was not to talk about that unless he wanted to. And I didn't prompt him.
Sure.
I didn't say anything, and we didn't. So there's nothing on there that anybody should be worried about.
On the book side, tell us what the book's about, like how it's set up.
The book is about the conversations I had mainly on the first visit that I took notes of later. As soon as we came out, I wrote down what I could remember, obviously, and I turned that into like an article type of thing. Parts of which have been published before, but I've added more to it. I've got the original notes,
photographs too. I would assume
I've got all the photographs. I've got the notes, and I've got also on the film is the original trailer, and also after the film there is a little section that I found from the first visit because I took a camcorder on the first visit, but it broke down. And I didn't have time to fumble and mess about with it, so I just left it. But Bob's filming again, and all of a sudden, this isn't on the film, I've left this off, but you can see his foot. He thought it was broken, and it was filming. So you've got his foot for 10 minutes, right? And then I've got a piece where it did work, where I'm talking to Jack, and that's on the film. That's around the pool from the first visit.
Right.
And then after the film is the Q&A that I held after the premiere at local theatre to invited guests. So it's about 1 hour 45 long, the entire thing.
Okay, excellent.
So,
how many pages are in the book?
There's 120 pages in the book.
Wow, it's a lot of content.
Yeah,
that's great.
There's all the writings that I've written up from the notes. And mixed it all in, and then you get in the book you also get the transcript of the film, and you get the transcript of the Q&A. So you get the whole thing. You can either read it or watch it.
Got it.
That's what it's about. I must say, it's not a book. It's like the film. It's called A Personal Journey. It's not so much about him as about me. It's my journey there.
Right.
Like when I went to Rapa Nui, that's Rapa Nui, a personal journey, because it's my journey. And mixed in that book is the history of the island and what my thoughts. So it's more about me than about him, about Jack.
Well, and your you're living out a dream that most of us will never be able. We can't now because Jack's been gone since '95, right?
94, yeah.
94. So, I mean, this is it. This is an experience that you were part of, that you're sharing with the world, that nobody else can experience now. This
That's
is
right.
that's why I call it an opus, because it's
And
quite a statement.
I've never seen any other film that long. I've seen bits from conventions and things like that, but I've never seen. So I don't know whether that stuff exists or not. I'm sure the Kirbys must have some.
Well, and it'll make for me, it's going to make my collection that much richer, knowing the backstory of everything, with not backstory, but the story of, whatever it was, a Saturday afternoon or Friday afternoon with
Friday
at the house. You know what I mean? That makes it, because it's a story behind it. It's your traveling. It's your,
that's right. Well, I won't tell you the story, but there's a funny story in the second trip about a Californian policeman.
Okay. Okay. I know. I don't even know that one, so that's good.
It's stuff like that. It's my journey. It's my journey.
Right.
And that's what it's about. And
so
Jack Kirby co-stars in my film.
Got it. Yeah. Then, well, there you are. I mean, did you end up sending? I was having a problem sending the link. Did you send the link to Carl or Brian?
I sent it to Brian. I don't know whether he's posted it.
Okay, I'm not seeing it on here yet. The reason being is because you're going to be launching your Indiegogo next week, right?
Next week on
but
Tuesday.
You've got a pre-launch right now that I want everybody to get on and check out.
The link link is in the private chat. Can you not see that private chat?
No, I have no. There's nothing on the private. Like I said, I'm having some issues with it. There's nothing on the private chat at all that I've got here. But like I said, if you want to send it to Carl, do you have Carl's message? If you want to send it, Carl, if you could post that or you can even post it in a regular comment, I think, Glenn, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I can't. I haven't got I'll send it to Carl right now.
Okay.
I don't have.
Carl, if you could update that, or Joe, or whoever you can get hold of, Donna, whatever, and then we'll get it on the. I'm sorry, I can't, for whatever reason. I'm having a hard time.
It's all right.
Copy and pasting stuff, so it won't let me do it.
I've sent it to Carl.
Very good. So, Carl, if maybe you could post that for us, that would be great. In any case, what I'll do, though, is in the YouTube video, I will put I'll put the link in the description. Okay. So that everybody can track that way. So I'll go back in after this goes live, and I've got it written down here. It's going to be released. I'm going to start the Indiegogo campaign next Tuesday, October the 5th, it's going to start at 1 p.m. my time, which is 8 EST, 8 a.m. EST, and it's on for 31 days and finishes on Friday, November the 5th. Got it. Okay. All right. And the book, what you're going to get, there are no perks really. I might do a PDF, but you get the book and the DVD. I'm not separating it. You get it in hardback. I'm not going down the softback route. I'm just doing. This is what you get. You get a book, 120-page full color book, and the DVD, and it's 30 quid, or I think it's $42. That's a steal. That's a steal, man. Then there's postage on top of that and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but that's understandable. Now, you're as far as extended lead times for delivery and that, is that going to be an issue, or do you have that figured out? No, everything's figured out now. I just need to get on with them, fill in the pages and launch it and do all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's okay. But it's that's good. I'm sure that you're always top notch when it comes to that. Just as far as, because some people are going to be, after they're on the Indiegogo, they're might be concerned because it's coming from across the pond, or that kind of stuff. Oh, you've already got that worked out. You've already got that worked out. It will be being printed by Mixam in the States and delivered from the States. So you won't be paying postage from the UK. And that's important. That's important. Yeah, but the thing is that if you want it signed, the American versions won't be, unless you want to pay the postage, which is probably going to be about the same again. Okay. So it's going to be expensive. But as things lighten up, I know that you'll be over the States. You've been invited already here. You know that. So we'll figure out. Maybe we can do a road trip when you get here, and we'll figure out the signing dates and all that stuff. That'd be brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll do a dual signing. We'll do my books and yours. Yeah. So that'd be cool. Yeah. Well, that'd be good. That'd be brilliant. Yeah. That would be good. I would enjoy that.
Carl, I've sent you a messenger.
Yeah, he said right. They said that they've done it. They've put it on, but it's still not showing up. So again, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. There might be because of the comment dump or whatever. But I will make sure that the Indiegogo campaign, it's under Glenn B. Fleming, the Indiegogo. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that it's in the description so everybody can just click on the description after watching the video. And once it's live too, we'll what we'll do is after we're off of here too, we'll share it on my pages and that too. Get everything set up there. But did you have any not regrets of doing all this? What when you've got a private thing like that, do you feel like you want to let all of the all the content, you know what I mean? Do you want it's a very hard thing for me sometimes.
There are a couple of bits that I've taken out that the Kirby lawyers wanted me to take out.
Okay.
It was nothing devastating, but it would have caused a problem at the time. So I've taken it out, and those remain out, and it will remain out. I won't release that. It's just his artwork on the wall. They didn't want any problems with it. So there's nothing said.
Okay.
Nobody says anything. It's just what was shown in the film. So I took all that out.
Understood.
There's probably I don't know, 5 minutes that you won't see.
Okay.
So it doesn't change much.
And anybody that's seen any of your books and anything that you've created from Hatch to everything with the Apollo missions, everything, every book that I've seen, Rapa Nui, they're exceptional. They're really the photography is great. The way it's written is excellent. I can't wait to see what you've got to show the world for Jack, because I think it's going to be the ones that I know that people are going to be collecting. So, and I know Brian backs it. I'm sure the whole group does. Carl said that the YouTube's blocking the link. So we're going to we'll work on that. We'll figure it out, but we'll be sending out all the information to everybody, and we'll make sure it works. But get on the pre-launch as soon as you can. Go to Indiegogo, check out Glenn B. Fleming, and see what you can do there, because it's going to be launching Tuesday. Is it on print on demand, or are there only certain amounts that you're going to be able to do? Or
no, I'm going to do it in demand.
Okay.
It's I want everybody to get it. That people might miss it for whatever reason. I'd also like to put it in the bookstores as well. So
yeah,
I'm working on that as well. So
okay, all right,
more ISBNs.
Good. Let's see. Damien says it's an opportunity to live vicariously through you, Glenn. Thank you for letting us. And that's exactly what I'm saying, because I know that my age group, I know that I'm 50 now, and I was still around with Kirby. I was at I was 8 or 9, like Machine Man, like I showed you a couple of weeks ago, and a few things in the different Black Panther. I was young, you were right in the heyday, man. You were old enough, like I said on our last show. You're 22 at the time when you were buying stuff or whatever it was, 78 we were talking about, I think, on one of the shows. And you were how old were you? 22, 21 back then?
Yeah.
And I was teasing you about having the money back then. You could buy them. Me, I was, it was just like, okay, did I get allowance that week or whatever?
I've never smoked and things like that, so I've always usually got a couple of quid more than most people. So, or a lot of people. So I would rather, I put it this way. I've bought a lot of books in my time. I've read a lot of books. I've read about 600 or 700 books now.
Sure.
And I've still got a lot of those books, as you can see behind.
Sure, man.
And those cigarettes that those guys had have gone since 1976.
Yeah, well, they might be no long if they're
right
still
onto
breathing.
Their lungs.
Yeah. People don't know how rare this project is, says from a desk of a small press publisher. This is one of the most last video content that is not owned by the Kirby estate. That alone is the best reason to get it. Very profound statement there from Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I look at it too. This is a home movie. I mean, this is as raw as it gets, man. This is, and it's independent, and it's and Glenn's no slouch. I mean, this is a major thing. And I don't know if I'm doing it justice, but I want to make sure that people definitely look for it for what it is, because I think you're doing a real service to comics in general, even to the Kirby family in that respect. You're
I mean, they
continuing
don't.
on their legacy.
Yeah, the Kirby family obviously don't know me. I think they might be aware of me, but they don't know me. But I'll say here that I wouldn't do anything to
Sure.
bring Jack and Ross Kirby down. I wouldn't do
Sure.
anything. And it's not about that. It's not even about making any money, because I'm still trying to recover my costs. It's 20, 30
Sure.
years ago,
Sure. Sure.
from that trip. So it is unique as far as I know. I'm sure somebody's got something somewhere. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Well, that's again, that's not my business.
Mhm.
All I wanted to do was share it. I did offer it to the Kirby family, to the Kirby Museum, but they didn't take it up. So I thought,
right.
well, I'm not gonna throw it away. I'm not gonna let it sit there on the shelf. I think this is important. I think it's an insight into him, and it's about him. He's not being Jack Kirby. He's not being Jack King Kirby. He's being Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
And I think it gives a good insight to his humor, because he's a funny guy. He likes to tell a story, as we know. He tells some great stories in the film about the Apollo astronauts flying over New York in an aircraft,
awesome.
and a two-seater aircraft with, the old aircraft with no cockpit.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of this.
Upside down. Flying
That's
upside
great. Those
down.
stories are, you're fortunate that you recorded them. Let's do the promo here. Let's show what you're doing on Indiegogo. Hold on one second.
Okay.
When they mined an area, they put down yellow tape right across that line. And if you walked on the wrong side of that yellow tape, you blew up.
Strange Tales 136. I remember it very clearly, and that was my first exposure to Kirby. And I wanted to show it to people.
Good stuff, guys. That's going to be definitely, what's that?
It also gives you the opportunity to see me with some hair.
Well, that's worth it.
That's worth it.
I'll go to Indiegogo for that. No problem. None of us are getting any younger, my friends. So don't be too hard on yourself.
No.
I appreciate your time with this. I know that it's only an hour, and we're getting an idea of the importance of it, because I think people really need to, like Jody said, you got to really look at the scope of what this is, because this can change a lot of people's investments with Kirby's work. It can change the way people feel about him as a creator, because now they see a small glimpse of your experience with him, and I think it's it really is a testament to you, and you didn't just fly out to California on a whim. I mean, this was a really heartfelt, and what an opportunity. And I thank you for sharing it.
And thank you for having me on and showing it. I just think it's great from my point of view that I did it twice. I've done a lot of things, and I like to do things twice, because I find it real when you've done it twice. Do you understand what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You do something and it's a great achievement, and then I think you've got to do it again.
Yeah.
I've not done everything twice that I want to do, but that's what I wanted to go back. I said when we were going the first time, I said to him, I hope I can come back again, Jack. And he said, you will. And I did.
Okay.
And I wished I'd said it at the end of the second trip, but I didn't. And I didn't.
Yeah.
Because he died a couple of years later.
Yeah.
But, that's the way it goes. But one regret in the whole thing was that I didn't be even cheekier than I normally am and take another tape to put into the camera and carry on. But I always think I'm being in imposition anyway. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you want to be. You
got to show
you
some
were raised.
respect.
You know, you're raised properly. I mean, you don't want to be.
The thing is, you see, is that if they would have said to me, if either one of them would have said, "Don't take any photographs and don't film," I wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
I asked them. They saw it. They said, "Not a problem," and that's what I did.
Okay.
Another, just a regret before we go.
Sure.
I taped one of the phone calls. I said when I rang the second time, or one of the times, I said to Roz, is it okay? Is it okay if I record the phone call? And she said, yeah. And then I pressed record, but I don't have that confirmation, so I can't use it.
Well, I think that you're, like I said, the service that you're doing for all of us as comic fans of Kirby outweighs everything that you could have added to or taken out or what. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, right? So just you know, I think that you did it, and you're like I said, providing a great service. You're very economical investment for people that really care about, you know.
Well, I didn't want to put it too high because I thought, well, I want people to buy it. You know, I want people to buy it more than I want to make money on it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. You want to get the information out.
I want to share it, but I don't want to give it away.
That's a testament to you too, though. I mean, that's who you are, and that's I appreciate that. Thank you for coming by, and I appreciate. Where can everybody find you?
Facebook, and you can contact me by email on Comics Unlimited Magazine at gmail.com. But Facebook's probably the best place.
Of course, Truth Mongers. You can check us out tomorrow night as well.
The Truth Mongers. We're going crop circling tomorrow, and I've got a good story about that.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
we haven't discussed anything on it yet, so I'm looking forward to it. The raw, crop circles.
It'll be, well, what do you think? Well, I don't know. What do you think? Well,
I don't know. So in closing, thanks again, Glenn, for stopping in. We're going to be, one of the things I know you're going to be interested in is From the Trenches of Hollywood, the new podcast I'm going to have on my show here soon with producer Craig Hall, who's developing the script for Retrieve for live action movie. We're getting that set up. So I'm going to run the promo here, and then we'll say goodbye. 1 second. Yeah, so we're excited about that. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good show.
That's interesting because that show starts when this campaign ends.
Right.
That's a
coincidence for you. That's good, huh? Yeah, no deal. Listen, if you guys could like and share this, that would be awesome. Subscribe to the channel. It would help us out greatly. And I appreciate you as usual, Glenn. You're awesome. You're always welcome, And we will talk to you guys soon. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on the Truth Mongers.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thanks again. Bye.